You're listening to the Real Life Podcast. We're an interactive show which tackles everything life sciences from conservation biology to zoology and botany.
Our podcast is where environmental awareness meets fun and chatter.
So come and listen to us as real life scientists tackle real life topics. Our guest today is an environmental officer at the Urban Development Corporation of Jamaica. He's also pursuing his Doctor of Philosophy in Conservation Biology at the University of the West Indies, Mona. He's a part of BirdLife Jamaica and he's popularly known for his social media handle, Roosters World. Please welcome our guest, Mr. Damion Whyte.
All right. When we are starting our podcast, we like to start with some questions that we call the real. In this section, we just want to get into your life a little bit, not too deep, but we try to, warm up. They're warm-up questions, right?
Yeah, man. My life is an open book, so I'm not really afraid of So try your
We
best.
love that. All right, so let's start off easy. Earlier last year, I found out that you're a bird watcher because I downloaded the eBird app.
Ooh, you did it. Wow. At least something rubbing off here. That's
So I want to know what made you get into bird watching.
Boy, that is a long story, but let me start that off. I become a birder. It was in life sciences.
A birder?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're called. They have an official name.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The official name and put it is ornithologist.
Okay.
And then our terms that we use were bird watchers, birder, bird lovers, any way you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so I remember in life sciences at that time I was doing you had a prelim biology course, and then I used to give trouble in the lab and talk a lot. So I had a head of department at the time, name was Dr. Steele, who came in and see me around there joke and send me chat to R much. That word was maybe we can't use it for the podcast, but yeah, send me chat too much. Yeah, it's not a bad word, but some people might not. So come and say, all right, you might go find something for me get rid of the energy with since we give so much trouble. So at that time we had BirdLife Jamaica, which was part of Life Sciences, which is like an NGO, a bird club. I don't know if you guys have it now, but it was pretty cool. And he carried me over there and introduced me to this lady named Catherine Levy, who was running it. She was also a past graduate student from the department. And from there, we turned bird watcher. So they carried me all around the place and start showing me birds, some birds I've never seen in my whole life. I not even know so they're there in Jamaica. And that's how my life started as a birder. I think that was in, how long ago that? 2000 or 2001? Yeah, 2000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was some long years ago, right? Donkey years
Where
ago.
were you, Maya?
Exactly.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That was a while back, because you said head of department and I was expecting you to say Prof Weber. But
that was before
like,
Prof Weber, man. You said somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So is that why you're called Roosters World? Because of your love of birds?
Not really, The thing is, what happened is I had let me see. So when I was on a hall again, I had an email, bad boy again. I had an email that named Bloody Rooster. So that was my right. So I remember when I started to do my master's now, my supervisor said, imagine you're writing to an Englishman that asks information and say Bloody Rooster because for example in England, bloody is a bad word. Yeah, it is a bad word.
I see.
So them time they start an email name so on hall my name was Rooster.
Okay.
Up to this day, the principal call me Rooster, and most of the people call me Rooster. They don't know my name.
Like,
that was just his hall. You don't say the reason behind hall names. That's a secret.
Well, secret, and they're very. Let's put it. They're very interesting in certain ways.
And very, very explicit.
Well,
Okay.
So
God,
not
I've
fit for
never been
airplay.
on hall. I don't know the hall life. I'm sorry.
half of your life gone if you never do hard life, man. That bring brotherhood and
Facts. That's facts.
right.
That's one thing this generation is gonna miss out on
Ex-
because COVID.
Exactly. You get miss out on what hall is and the friendship. But anyway, so I got this name Rooster and Hall because of some very good reason. So I had an email address that named Bloody Rooster. So when you have an email and you open social media account, you normally use your email. So I had Bloody Rooster on my Twitter. So it was working good until I started getting an increase in following. And then you have some people when they start have increase in following in what you're posting, you have different set of people joining. Some people might not have a problem and some people might upset. So I had
Yeah.
named Bloody Rooster, and I remember I had it was the head of UDC that called me one day. That's Miss Head up,
Okay.
right, who tell me say, yeah, she's enough things that go on for my social page, my Twitter page because I have a large following. Because I just do it for fun.
Yeah.
Well, I need to tell a story why I opened my Twitter account after that. So she looked at me and said, she asked me, say, you know what, to make it a bit more media friendly, I need to change it from Bloody Rooster. And she said, come up with a name, and we did that. And I said, all what I post is in my world, so I just added Roosters World to it, and that's how I got Roosters World.
Wow. Were you
I
working at
see.
UDC before that, or?
Well, the thing is, currently I work at UDC.
Right. And you have been for 11 years now.
Right, as an environmental officer.
Okay.
But I also do a lot of different stuff. I like sit on different committees, boards, help out people who need information with certain consultancies, and you name it. I'm involved in enough stuff where I come up with nature.
Right.
So
That's interesting. So tell us how you started the Twitter then.
all right. So as a graduate student, I know enough of the researchers. We kind of some of us live in the non-social media world, as I put it, because the proper way to be a researcher, you're not supposed to be putting certain stuff out, or some people might see it as a show off or something like that. But the reason why I did it, when I was doing my graduate program, I recalled when it came up to certain research, we were keep on hearing that you couldn't find local people to do it. It's like to do certain aspects of research, it has to be foreigners. One.
Why?
And then the second thing was, when I go conferences, I noticed that everybody is showcasing their work on how to get grants. And just remember that some of these grants that you get or that you apply to, it's not the scientist you're applying to, it's a normal man. The philanthropist most times is not a scientist. So you have to find a way to communicate to them.
You have to appeal to all the crowds.
Right. So you have to know how to switch on. So if you're appealing for funding, you have to sweet up the researcher wife, the funder wife. She might not be a scientist. Our kids, our friend, or even the philanthropists themselves, they're not scientists. And sometimes we as scientists, we use all kind of fancy jargons, which sometimes even we can understand ourselves, Or make it sound complicated. Like we're bright and we're cool. Right. So initially when I started off my Twitter, it was not even Twitter, it was IG. And then I started to post some stuff on WhatsApp, and then out of the blue, my mother started use WhatsApp. My mother never in technology. So I started to find out if I can make it simple for my mother and some other friends to understand. Because it takes a while, So some people post up on IG and then write this long half-page epistle. None of them are read it.
Yeah.
Because,
with some genus name and some name we are in a textbook.
Yeah, man, I then put so much in it that, like, when you look at it, you're like, geez, Lord, I'm never read this. It's too much. So I started, initially, it never started off too good because still you have a scientific training. You start using all your fancy term and then somebody asks you, For example, like I come out and say, you know that this bird is endemic to Jamaica. And then somebody asks me, so what endemic mean?
Oh my God,
Right.
I literally had this conversation one time, where I had to explain, the difference between endemic and indigenous and
Right.
native and all of these different
Mm-hmm.
terms.
And it's very simple for us to understand because we are taught that way. So, for example, if I
Yeah.
Right. In our little science bubble, but
yeah. So if I say
and everybody with we.
all right, if you say something endemic, I would have to say meaning this bird is endemic, meaning it's only found in Jamaica. Somebody might say, yeah, you're right. It's you're saying the same thing twice, but it's not everybody know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to write it very simple, but catchy, but
Mm-hmm.
simple. And then after you start putting that, now my mom start understand, and enough people start understand. So it's not
Yeah.
to flood your stuff with information. And then the second thing was you want to showcase that people know what you're doing. Because, for example, some of the stuff that we do is strategic. Because it helped me get research funding, or it helped get other people knowing what you're doing. You know, I remember I was doing some work on part of my PhD and showing how I do some field work, start tweeting, and Mr. the Prime Minister tweets them and come over or something like to the project. So you have to put in stuff out there. But the thing is, you have to know what you're putting it out for because it is easy to get caught up in likes. I say, boy,
Yeah.
people are, how me post this good post and somebody posts a picture, somebody I drop down, or somebody I dance or do some crazy stuff, and you have 20
Get more likes than you.
you or something like. You just have to know what you're doing for and stick with it. And when I say stick,
Yeah.
stick with the content. So every morning I put out something, or every evening, or sometimes people see me putting out a lot of content and believe that I'm always in the bush. No, I'm not always there. But sometimes when I go out there, I take picture, I just find something interesting, or I write in a paper and I say something that I never know. Like for example, the other day I was in the bush, see somebody chop down some logwood, and then I was reading a paper on logwood and hear the history that it was a big business in St. Elizabeth, or mention people use it as sports. You know, some very cool, simple stuff. And then you
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
one other thing you have to just do consistent, and then you feel like people not following you or not. For example, right now on Twitter, I just only have 4,000 followers, which is a little bit. If if you're thinking about that, if you want to get in the business, you go to 200,000 and all of that. But all of those
Right.
stuff come up in time.
Was.
But
Well, I mean, it's not just about followers, but engagement. Because even though you have less followers, you do have high engaged
well, that's true.
followers. And all the time, I see people like, especially like I follow you on Twitter, and I notice that a lot of people tend to tag you in different things that they find in nature. So even though you have a smaller following, at least your following is dedicated to you in
Well,
that
that's true
sense.
because, and that's it. All right, let me put it this way. If I was looking at followers, I would have to invest a lot more time because just think of it. Being on social media takes a lot of time. My content is growing. I mean, if I wasn't doing a PhD, I have a team, I could go much further. But you have to just remember that
Definitely.
if you this thing can have you stuck on it the whole day. If you're not, you have
Yeah.
to find a way to. Although I says social media is not that sociable, but you have to know what you're going in there for. Um, and, and you're right. One key thing that I notice is when people know what you're doing. For example, people know that I rescue animals. I speak about nature. If I find something cool, tell me, or stuff like that. So if they find something and they
Mm-hmm.
send my message, I respond. And that's something sometimes people don't do. Or if somebody start following me, I tell them thanks for following. I type it up, thanks for following. Yeah, like give them a big up or something like that. But the key thing that
Mm-hmm.
you stated a while ago is engagement. Because
Yeah.
and the next thing is you not even know what your post going to bring this massive engagement. Because I remember I was doing some work in a cave where we just looking at the invasive feral cats feeding on some of our critical endangered bats. And we set up some trail cameras and we got some footage and you posted. So I was just showing what cats did. Initially, to me, I never knew it was a one-of-a-kind video because they don't have much video like that of the cat really sitting there and catching the bat. And then I posted and I didn't, was okay, next minute I said 10,000, 20,000, 30. It was just going, yeah, just go like that. You just don't know.
Whoa.
Right. And then on the other hand, you put something cool, I say, hey, this is new to science. A lot of people can get, and then nobody look on it. So it just, or maybe today it don't pick up because I remember doing training some people how to use trail cameras in some of CCAM staff, that's Caribbean Coastal Area Management, which is an NGO. And after the training, there was this crocodile that was coming up on the dock. So we wanted to know if she was nesting or what the hell she was doing. So we put some trail cameras up there and we're analyzing the video. And I found out that the dogs are there messing with the croc. So we post this video.
Oh no.
Yeah, not really. You know, those dogs that bite the dogs, biting the tail or stuff like that. So the other day I was
dogs.
Yeah, so the other day I was doing a I had this webinar that I was doing for BirdLife Jamaica, where we were going to talk about birds. And I cut the video that was like, let me put it, that was like 25 seconds. And I just cut a small part, maybe 15 seconds to show people how trail camera stuff do. That little clip that I cut off, something that I posted, just got viral. Companies asking, say, hey, they want to buy it or that something. It's just our own video and all those stuff.
Wow.
But that was just for science. It was nothing. I tell them, it was just for science to showcase conservation of the crocodile because people persecute them in Jamaica. So the reason why I was just telling you that, as I would tell every researcher, especially in life sciences, you might believe people know what you're doing. They don't know.
They
right?
really
And sometimes
They
don't care because you might be saying you're doing this good work and nobody cares. It's because they don't understand what you're doing. And we are bad as scientists to showcase what we do in a simple way.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree with you on that one for
Yeah,
sure. And I admire your platform so much because just random people, and even not just Jamaicans, but people in the Caribbean and outside connect with you on all of your platforms, and you make it short and informative. So I definitely love that you do that. And it's kind of similar to what we're doing with this podcast, trying to educate people and break things down simply so that the common man could understand these complex things that we spend several years
studying. We need more
because
just remember that when if I go on social media or I go and look at the big stuff, I mean, I remember one year I thought that there's no way Animal Planet or none of them I would be on Animal Planet. And I recall.
You're on Animal Planet?
No, I'm not on it yet, but I remember people reach out, but
all right, but you're gonna reach.
But what I'm trying to say is you are here, and I will tell you as my colleagues are that we are here and we look on the big wide world and say, well, I look at university or that and think something out of our reach. The sky is the limit. The Caribbean, the Caribbean, and I always like push Caribbean because every island is distinct and we have a lot of interesting stuff. When you check the footage that coming out, like BBC, Animal Planet, and everybody that are doing this good footage, they go to Africa and they come to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It is they that are marking it. We in the Caribbean or Jamaica, we need to market our stuff in that way. And we have the people here. It's just that we just need, I'm not saying doing it by ourselves, but we just need to collaborate, go and get it because we have the stuff here. So as I always tell somebody, if you can't get onto this big show, make your own show. It will grow. But just remember why you are doing it. Because when popularity go up, your head might get big and you go do all kind of other. So just remember why you start or why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you for that advice.
Yeah, man. To be frank, I never really wanted to work at UDC at the time. At the time, I basically finished the master's. I was with supervisor doing a lot of environmental consultancy, and things were nice. But then I remember there was a downturn with the consultancies, and they said, yeah, have to find a 9 to 5 job. And if you might know the market, environmental jobs are not the easiest to get in that time. Might be a little bit easier now, but wasn't then. So, there's a few, and normally when people get it, them stick to it. So the good thing is,
Right.
UDC was my first job in a corporate setting. So meaning not only environment, but so UDC do a lot of planning and development. So in doing development, engineer, architects, make sure that whatever you're putting in don't have a bad impact on the environment, make sure it's green, make sure it fills certain protocols and all of that.
Okay.
So it was that part that started there. So I got the chance of working with corporate and doing some environment stuff.
You also work with the Hope Zoo, right?
No, I don't work with the Hope Zoo. Most of the stuff like I do with the Hope Zoo, that's on my free times. Yeah, so the environment fraternity is very small. So you might sit down and walk up and then everybody become friends. So for example, most of the rescues that I do it on my own free time because I like it.
Love that.
So yeah, so somebody.
And here I thought that was your job.
That's not my job. No.
But the dedication to saving animals.
So for example, some of the birds I never had the opportunity to hold. So like I might rescue Pato, I might rescue a big red-tailed hawk or something like that. They're pretty cool, or an osprey.
Yeah.
When you have a bird like that in your hand, although they what I should say, they will claw you in ways that you don't want to be clawed. But anyway, it's a wild bird and you're a big alien touching them, so they can defend themselves. I guess if I can grab you, you'll be biting, kicking, and doing that. So that's the same thing with bird. But I love nature. So a lot of people believe what I do it as a job. I do it as fun. Or some of it is my research. So I donate a lot of time to stuff like that. Because the bird or the crocodile don't have a voice for themselves. So I mean, you have to find what you like doing. So I like, I don't know if you girls want to jump on a crocodile back or
I mean, maybe not the crocodile, but I will help the bird.
I'm not gonna lie, I've always wanted to go on a croc rescue. They look very fun.
Oh, I like. Well, one of them day I bring you on a croc rescue. Yeah, man.
Promise?
No problem.
Okay.
I'll take pictures.
Don't worry. Okay. I can make you take pictures in some very interesting places, in the boat, and maybe on the back or something like that, or make a hold a snake or something like that. There's so much cool stuff to hold,
So you mentioned your rescues and your animal rescues, which you do for fun, no payment, just vibes. So what is one of your most memorable rescues?
Well, one of my memorable rescues was the other day. It's recent. Well, I've done so many rescues, but this one, I remember a friend of mine called me. Her mother was going crazy, hysterical. It was like, she came out and she told me that she pulled the grill and there was this huge bird right in front of her grill and she can't move and she feels it's a bad omen, she's going to die or whatever. So initially, I thought I know what kind of bird it is. She started telling me what it was. So I was telling her, just leave him alone. He will leave in the evening. That's a nocturnal bird. No. So the way the lady was getting frantic, I said, I don't want nothing happen to the bird. I don't want nothing happen to her because she can't have blood pressure. So I went to the house to move, and when I look, it was a northern pothole. No, this is what Jamaica calls pothole. It has big yellow eyes, and what it does, it sits on a post and blend in and think that you can't see because the camouflage is so good on post. However, this guy thought that he was well camouflaged on a white grill that had what call that plant, an anthurium on it. So he thought it blending. So I was like to him, I see you, you're not camouflaged, So sometimes when they go to move them, you have to talk to them. Animals like to talk to them. So I was there. I put on the glove. It's the first time I grabbed that kind of bird, and he started making all sorts of sound, and we're like, oh. So I find a post and I put him there, and when I put him on the post, there were two other ladies at the house. I think nurse, and they came out with the cameras. Oh God, he's so cute! And then they're taking pictures, and then he flew off around them and come back around, and pandemonium happened. And I thought it was judgment. But he just and then he stood there, and it was one of the most cutest things I've seen. Although some people might say it's not cute, but I've never held one of that before. And see the eyes open, he looking at me. Because 1 minute I thought something was wrong with the bird, because wild birds don't let you grab them like that. So I grabbed him and he was there looking at me, and I was there and I was taking picture, and I was like, geez, this is the first time. This is awesome. This is the first time I get a picture like this. And then when I was going to get some other fancy picture that I was talking about slow motion, he flew off. And I was like, look at my picture gone. But yeah. So that was with the Pato. And I had
Wow.
And then I had an interesting one in Holaba where I rescued my favorite, which was a osprey, Ozzy the osprey. Yeah, everybody say my names are that I shouldn't name the bird, but Ozzy was cool. So it was a big osprey that I had to jump over people's fence around down, because it seemed like he injured his wing, but osprey is what we call a fish hawk. So they have sharp talons and
okay.
Yeah, and he's big. Big. So, yeah, that was Ozzy the osprey. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Just driving up from Olaba to Kingston with that osprey in the vehicle. Again, in a box. And then he'd come out of the box and he was on the seat. He could fly anytime, so I had to be there singing, telling him to cool down and stuff. But yeah, we have some good relations.
Afraid him like fly up and like pick you on them.
Like how do you drive?
When you are calm, they're calm. When you panic, they panic.
I see. I just wonder, what the people were thinking if they're driving by and they just see this huge bird sitting beside you in the car.
I remember somebody saw. Yeah, they are like, what the hell is going on there? Yeah. What? Yeah, I'm told I'm crazy sometimes. Yeah. No man, everybody can do it. Like, what the hell is going on?
I just don't understand our love for animals, because we are their boys.
I like to rescue the animals. I mean, as I keep on telling people, especially with crocodiles, I am not telling you to love a crocodile. I'm not telling you to love a snake or that. But a number of the stuff we have here are unique. A number of them are endemic. Or even if they are not endemic, they deserve life. If you don't like it, you don't have to chop or kill it. You can call us to come move it. And a matter of fact, most of the little snakes go about them business. They are afraid of humans. If you look how big a little small snake compared to a human, we are 100 times bigger than it. And that's why part of my message is to tell people that you don't have to kill them, you don't have to love them, just respect it.
Definitely. I agree with you.
It's into the other question I was planning to ask you. I was like, how do you feel about people's Jamaican attitudes towards animals? Because as you said, like I believe that people fear what they don't know. Like
definitely,
they don't understand it. They feel like, oh, this thing is in my space. I need to kill it. But like,
and that's understandable, because if you try to think why you are afraid of a lizard or not, it's something that you learn.
Fear is learned.
So and as I tell people, I understand if you're afraid of a lizard or a snake. My mother is afraid of any creepy crawler. So
definitely.
Right.
That is
so
also
I understand that. There's nothing wrong in being that. But on the other hand, they also have a right for life. If you kill off all the snake, you know what impact you have in an environment. You kill off all the crocodiles, you don't know what impact. They were here before us,
All right. So then that moves on to the next question. So we're not seeing, I think the only commercial I've ever seen for animal welfare is probably the Jamaican iguana one, and that wasn't even on TV. It was just on social media to save the Jamaican iguana. But what can we do? I want to put this on a personal level. So what can each individual do? And also on a level of we're not a political podcast, but in terms of legislation or even just the rules that govern how our environmental work our environment works, sorry, what can we do to be more involved in care for our animals, not just veterinary care, but care for these wildlife that you have to always
first
rescue?
thing that from an individual standpoint, and I always tell people, social media right now is a very good tool for individuals, because check 10 years ago, everybody, to think about that, you have a phone that can take a picture, you can share that picture with everybody. So put it to know. There are a number of animals that some of them that we think are extinct, or maybe have invasive that come in, like the Cuban tree frogs. Sometimes it takes a long time to reach the expert. If you check it, there are few experts in Jamaica, like few reptile or person who deal with birds or name it. We're a small island and we're small in terms of that. And if you check the Caribbean, there's few of us. However, there's enough people. And if you look at it individually, one of the reasons why I encourage people to share information. So if you see something weird, a weird bird or this weird looking frog or this weird looking plant where you never know, or when you go up, you can take it a picture of that an individual and share it. You don't have to know the scientific name or whatever, just share it. A number of times when this information is shared, it reaches the expert. One thing happened. It could be something that we think that extinct, we find it back. Because remember, scientists only visit that area for a month, I do a sampling maybe 2 days, but you live there over 24 or 25 years. So who likes something
right
there for 25 years?
Yeah.
So sometimes that's why I ask people to share the information. So sharing from an individual point of view will let us know what is there. When people start share and get a feedback, they feel like a certain level of importance, and it increases the level of awareness, or even increase the level to care, because they don't know what. So them share what this beetle only find in Jamaica, only find what make it special, and you get find out that after a while you get addicted. You want to know more information about this beetle, and they're telling you don't kill it.
If you
and you feel good, that, right. So
more
for an individual, and then it make people start care a little. And next thing too, when people start getting information and see the neighbor or they start chop up the snake, you might go, no man, virgin the snake I only find in Jamaica, it's special. It eat rat, it benefit your farm. So you don't have to kill it. So that way it certain awareness, and then it break down the thing where people kind of say, may I do something good. So that's from the individual standpoint.
Definitely.
It even help, for example, right now my mother don't fear anything named snake. She's still afraid of them, but now go chop them up in the garden, she make them go about them business. Because she knows them at the work.
Snakes. I've never seen a wild snake.
Definitely, but that's because they're at the Jamaican boa at least is endangered now, because people have been just ridiculous to them. So at least the boa for sure is you're not gonna see that.
But I've really never even seen a baby snake in the wild. The only time I see snake up garden in a cage.
I think I saw a blind snake once in my bathtub.
Exactly, that's what I was
but I thought it was a worm.
I bet I might could come to your house run a garden and find a snake in there, and you'd know. No, most time they move in the night and they're very skittish. So they are there. So I mean, not to scare people, but we don't have no poison snakes, so you'll be okay. So from an individual standpoint, if you want to reach out to people and then you reach the kids and then them say, Mommy, don't kill that, start putting in from a policy, from a policy standpoint, a lot of this stuff that we do, it costs and take money. For example, me drive go Linstead or drive go Olaba. It takes money. It's not everybody can do that. I mean, you have to buy gas, buy tool, buy some of the equipment and carry it back. Then when they carry it back now, there are a few places there. You have JSPC, that's in near Half a Tree, and then you have the Hope Zoo. To care for animals, it takes money. So, like for example, now the zoo, with COVID, gate price shut down, so they have to struggle to find, and JSPC have to struggle to find money to take care of these animals. You don't want these animals to be locked up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes carry to certain periods to them is like prison. So you want to make sure that it's a last cause make you have to keep them locked up. Meaning, if the wing mash up, yeah, you
Right.
have to keep that at the zoo. But if it can be rehabilitated, and rehabilitation takes a little while because I remember at the Hope Zoo there was a crocodile that somebody caught, and they caught it wrong, so the legs got a bit damaged. So they had to be doing physiotherapy. So imagine you're doing physiotherapy for animal. So you have to do all of these stuff for protecting the animal. So it takes money to care. So I mean, to help some of these rescue centers are that I think from a policy standpoint, they need to be putting in stuff to deal with that. Well, the next, yeah, a little
They need
funding.
to
And one
put
of the next thing is, you mentioned something very important a while ago, When you want to talk about media campaign, if Red Stripe come in with a new Red Stripe flavor, you see these lovely ads on prime time. Or if Funks or do something, you see these fabulous ads. If our insurance company. But when something come out of the environment, it's like a pamphlet when nobody no read again. Pamphlet didn't slow down. Or some, yeah. What I think they need to do, they need to get more professionals in the marketing. I'm a biologist, I'm not a marketer.
Definitely.
And one thing they teach me, and one thing I've learned from my postgrad and in the working world experience, all of we go to school for some reason. You have a person who go for learn banking and is a banker. You have who go for learn media and is a media person. You have a biologist, you have a chemist. We must respect one another field and know said why the person like 3 years of their life go get a BSc in that. Because they must know more than you. So for example, sometimes the environment people do a marketing campaign, and it's just where environment people we are not taught or get it taught that or get the experience. Not saying that environmentalists can make a good marketer, but you need to mix that in. And when you put that in together, you get some lovely media campaign that reach the people. So one of that is, and there's a place for pamphlets, but if you check it now, social media have been evolving. However, in Jamaica, when you check it out, even though you might think that social media is big, there's still a big advantage in using prime time. So everybody love watch prime time news, getting an ad for protection animal. People like radio. One of the key things with social media. Yeah, I was saying that social media don't reach in Jamaica as yet. We might have a reach, but not big. So radio and TV have a big reach. So all I was saying that when you do stuff on radio or TV, it reaches the masses. So from a policy standpoint or from environmentalists, we have to find a way to come up with a good package to showcase the environment. People out there want to learn. They want to know about the stuff that we have, but we just have to find a way to package it. That's a one thing me just hope that we can package it, make it a little bit cool with good information.
Yeah. Moving away from the politics of it all, let's go somewhere where we can relate. Well, not really, but kinda. How is the PhD program? How do you find that?
And what made you want to do a PhD after you mentioned you started in 2001? So what made you want to even?
No, that was
then he
undergrad,
but
man.
he's just doing a PhD now. So that's why I'm saying like. the course?
Well, I did my masters, and then I started working, and then I said, sure. I was in Germany for a while when I was on a different course.
Ooh.
I said, why not do a PhD? So when I
Exactly.
just a 6 months. So when I came back, I was like, I should do my PhD, and then I started doing it part time. Part time PhDs are rough because you work, and hyperactive people like me, I love do the field work, but to sit down and write is a challenging part. And most of the PhD is not about the field work; it's about the writing. So it's to get the discipline in doing it. Why I did it? I mean, just to expand in the environmental circle. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, man, that's why you're gonna do it. But like I know for us as third years, we're about to finish our undergrad, and we're looking at the perspective of elevating ourselves. So like we wanted to know like your what actually are you doing
I'm
your
doing a
PhD
PhD
in?
in
What field?
zoology. So I'm evaluating Great Goats Island, which is
Oh wow.
1 mile from Coal Harbour Bay for the reintroduction of the critical
Jamaican
endangered
iguana?
So
Oh
basically,
wow.
to give a nutshell of what I'm doing, I'm just check. The thing is, iguanas was on the island up till 1945, or in the 1940s. When they built the American base, they removed the last set of the iguanas, brought them to Kingston. After a while, most of them dead. So after that, everybody thought they were extinct, and then we find them back in the 1990s in Hampshire Hills. But Goat Island has changed, and the question that is being asked, can it, can the iguana, what? Well, the first one was asked, are there any iguanas there? And I answered that question. And if the iguanas are brought back, you can check, do they have nesting areas? Do they have habitat? Are there invasive species there? And my PhD is to do all of that check. And if there are invasive species there, give an estimate of the numbers. So
I
I'm
see.
not still with us to try check if
Okay.
the island is okay for them to go. Islands are normally advantageous because in Hampshire Hills currently, there's a lot of money being spent yearly, millions, just to protect the nesting sites of the iguanas that we have. So there's a lot of cats out there catching the feral cats, pigs, dogs, you name it. And no matter how much trapping we do, they're always going to become, because the area that we're working on is like 2 kilometers square. So it's very small. And the area is vast. So no matter how fast you move out the invasive, they keep on coming in. So, you look at an island where you can remove the invasive, and they're not going to take long to come on. Meaning somebody have to bring some of them by boat, or they have to swim across. So it's easy to manage an island compared to manage somewhere on the mainland where you have continuous supply of these animals. So that's the PhD. I would tell you guys third year is enjoy your third year. I mean, you reach a point now when you get big and feel so, yo, I'm tired of the labs and all of that, but all of the courses where you do are going to put together to make sense based on what you know, because you're still going to be writing reports, which is like a lab report. You're still going to be analyzing stuff. So it never ends. It's there in somewhere or the other.
Never ends.
It never ends. You're always going to be writing reports, and you're going to be doing some analysis. And you're going to have some templates of how you're going to write the report, like when we tell you how to do a lab, aim, objective, introduction, results, discussion. That will never end. So that's what the report is going to be like. And then people ask, yo, want to experience that?
I think that's the biggest question that most of us don't know how to answer.
Well, there's different ways of working out with that. So when I was campus, you have a lot of grad students and have lecturers who doing research. So you can work on some of their research project, and that's experience. But some people didn't see it like that. I could volunteer to some of the NGO maybe for a week or two, and then you get, or you go with some other expert. People think that some of the experience that you have to be in the office. They want to know that you can use certain equipments, like it depends on the job. You can use a GPS. You can collect data. So all of that assistant that you're working with, the volunteering, you check it. 2 years they do that. That's a 2 years worth of experience. Some people think that experience them have to put say, me did that January, February, March. No. In year 2010 you were there, year 2011. When you interview, you can break down what's 2010 or 11. But that's how you get the experience. So I mean,
I definitely get what you mean.
It's not just being thrown at desk. It's what we've been experiencing
and you
throughout
just believe
undergrad.
that you have to. Some people don't see going out with a supervisor or graduate student is experience, but it is experience. They want to make sure that you can. Some of the jobs they want to make sure you can do it. Or if you volunteer an hour or two of Hope Zoo, that's a job that you're volunteering too. So don't, so that's experience. So you have to know how to play around it and join certain groups, join certain NGOs. And you get experience from the NGOs.
Oh, I've seen it.
So can you list some like for the listeners, what other ones that would be good to try and apply to?
Well, they have NGOs. They have like BirdLife Jamaica. They have Natural History Society. You have Jamaica Conservation Development Trust. That's JCDT. That manage Blue and Junker Mountain National Park. You have Hope Zoo. You have JSPC. You have NGOs like CCAM, Caribbean Coastal Area Management. Even some of these entities need stuff like them social media page, which is, I can tell you, every entity needs that, and it's the younger generation. Who enough time they run them phone on Twitter and nothing it as a job, but you can do it for these people and get paid because that's advertisement for them. And you have some of the environmental firms that might take you on with that project. Some of them might not pay you volunteer yourself and them to say it's a good work and them get a job. So you have like CL Environmental, you have Conrad Douglas, you have environmental managers, you have environmental planners, you name it. So there are a number of stuff. So all I'm saying is, yes, the job world might be, especially for us life scientists, might be few. But when you start showcasing work and working with these NGOs, you might get grabbed over the Caribbean because BirdLife Jamaica is linked to BirdLife Caribbean. We see a lot of different jobs in the Caribbean.
Yeah, we saw that when we were doing remember Maya when we had to use it for
vertebrate bio.
No, was that herbs?
Did I mark you guys?
For the
you guys did my
for
course?
Weeby.
Of course we did.
Oh.
We're in third year, so
no, I just
of course
noticed
we did.
when you said that, yeah. Oh, you use the app that I recommended. Cool. And not even notice, you know. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, at night. Just remember that social media have a big reach. It's not only Jamaica. So when you're doing some of these stuff for NGOs, here you have international NGOs, and you don't know where it bring you. Might be scholarship, might be funding for something. You don't know. So I mean, you are reaching the part now where you say, hey, you send out some resumes and all of that. But just remember that there are different stuff that you can get involved with. But know what you like.
Yeah.
Know what you like. Or what you want.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know? Just, you know what? Do certain volunteer and you, let me put it this way, you are miserable. Yeah.
Mosquito bite you, place hot, you don't wear the right shoes.
And you know you never did something there. So nobody
Right.
stress out yourself and go there. So if you know you like the research part, volunteer for sit
Definitely.
down and
And there are
write the
jobs for
paper
that
them
too.
and
There are
them
people that
something.
literally just read papers and
Mm.
do literature and all of that stuff. So we want to thank you so much, Mr. White, for coming and talking to us tonight. So late at night, and even with the bike them outside and the dog them outside, and we still stay all this time. I guess they want to be a part of the podcast.
And I mean it's a virtual age, so we understand, you know, in our own
Yeah.
space, anything can
So now
play.
that we've reached the end, where can our listeners find and connect with you?
All right. So they can go to Twitter. It's well, one of the things is I need to make everything the same now, but sometimes people get a name before. So on Twitter, I'm Roosters World, which is Roosters ROOSTRS underscore underscore World WORLD. And when you go on that, you will see all my other social media contact, which all of them are Roosters World. That is basically on IG, Twitter, um, Facebook, YouTube, and I think I'm missing off one. I'm on most of the other social medias, but I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what my
I
TikTok. I think my TikTok page is Roost as well too. Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm. Yeah, I use all
love
social
that.
media platforms. Well, there are some more that I'm using, but you just have to. Problem is, if you have full time, you would have been managing different content for each profile.
But I have an idea for you
yeah.
though.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you could accept one or two social media managers, bring them on board, make them in charge of filming, editing, uploading, whatever it is on your different platforms, and then that would help you to expand what you have now. Since you yourself,
Make roosters
yeah, I
a
mean,
whole
since
business.
you already have that trademark, and you aren't unable to do the expansion that you would want to do on your own, you could definitely take on one or two persons. And I'm not talking about hiring a team. You could have undergrad students really who are interested in this kind of stuff and would come on board willing
Well,
to do that and just help
well,
you out, and then that would look good
well,
for them because they
I'm
will get
trying
the
to find
experience.
those undergrad people who are interested in that. I mean, I mean, no, it
Put
would.
it out on your social
No, man, I'm
media.
serious, you know. I'm looking for
Them will
people
come.
like that who are interested in social. And it wouldn't be a freebie or anything. It would be on the startup, have the big door, but it would be. But
Yeah.
yes, I'm really looking for people like that because the truth is, I have the footage, but I just don't have the time. Writing PhD and sitting and making all this stuff takes time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So listeners, if
Mm-hmm.
you're interested and you have the gumption, shoot him a message and try and, be where the money resides this year. Or when the
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Real Life Podcast. Follow us on our social media pages, Real Life Pod 876 on Twitter and the Real Life Podcast 876 on Instagram and Facebook. Remember, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Tune in next week where real life scientists tackle real life issues.